welcome to the Rick and Dave's Comic Book Hour.
Hey, welcome to Rick and Dave's Comic Book Hour. I am Dave.
And I'm Rick.
And this issue we are going to talk about Jonah Hex. The issue we have here is, what, 29?
28.
Yeah. And as you can see, Jonah doesn't have any scars on his face. Well, being DC Comics, we conveniently had Booster Gold pop up out of nowhere and bring Jonah Hex to the future. And
well,
so,
Booster Gold was a sheriff in the West for a while there.
Yeah.
That ran in the Booster.
I'm not really sure why he was there or why he was. Well, I guess they did touch on why he was sheriff a little bit, but
yeah, but he didn't know why he was there either.
Yeah,
but,
he just kind of showed up and tried to do the right thing. But anyway, Jonah ends up in modern day DC
because Booster Gold did one of his things and took Jonah with him.
Yeah,
and they split up. I don't know where because I mean they didn't go to the same place.
First he starts in Gotham and he's like, "Oh great, I'm back." But
so when Jonah gets to the future, I mean, here's a guy in a rebel uniform, with six-shooters in the middle of Gotham, he's trying to uphold the law.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize, because it starts off when he first gets there, there's some gangs or something, and he starts shooting at them.
Yeah, there's some gangs trying to get this young couple, and he of course does the right thing and shoots and kills them and takes them out, which he thinks is fine. But modern day law doesn't allow you just to be going around shooting up people like that. So they eventually get him into Arkham Asylum and eventually gets his way out of it.
They tell him that Thomas Wayne sold the casinos, and he's asking, well, where's my cut?
Yeah,
because he's supposed to get 30% of the casino.
Yeah. So yeah, they sold that back in 1905.
Yeah.
So
I guess Batman makes an appearance, doesn't believe a story, but then he finds an old receipt where it says Jonah Hex 30%. Batman doesn't even meet Jonah Hex.
Well, the girlfriend's always kind of been there for the last few issues.
Yeah.
She became his modern day guide.
Yeah,
kind of to help him to adjust to modern day surroundings and all that, and eventually he gets himself a motorcycle and they go cross country.
Yeah.
And
that's right. He gets himself
drunk. And he's always drunk apparently. But they go out to the desert and dig up one of his old stashes that he had hidden out in the desert and cash that in, so they have some cash to get around.
Right.
And then the whole time he's trying to figure out a way to get back, and comes across John Constantine and Swamp Thing, and that what leads him into Metropolis and tries to get himself back. And well, Booster Gold eventually comes back and sends him back, and the girlfriend decides to go along too. Well, and sends him back to the Old West.
We didn't answer the question yet. He gets drunk, crashes his motorcycle, and is hospitalized. And they think the scarring is from the accident, so they do plastic surgery because he's in a coma for
like 3 or 4 months.
Longer than that. I think it was 6 months.
A little longer than that.
Well, quite a while, because she was waiting for him to come out of this coma. Eventually wakes up, looks in the mirror, and he's all surprised about what happened. And then they leave the hospital, and then Booster Gold shows up, and she decides to tag along like he says. They end up, so it ends. They return to the Old West, and then there's some Indians waiting for him, and of course he's trying to tell he's Jonah Hex. But since he has no scar, the other Indians knew that he wasn't Jonah Hex, and they're getting ready to, they think he's a liar, and who knows what's going to. So it ends with them about the, plus she's still wearing her modern day clothes, so they don't know what to think about this girl.
And so they got this half-naked modern-day girl running around in a miniskirt and a tank top. The way they ended, they're going to kill Jonah and take her as a slave or something.
Right. Dave didn't read this from the beginning. I've been giving him my issues. He's finally caught up. So what do you think of this?
Overall, the series, I enjoyed it. I don't know if it's necessarily one I'd buy, but
you'll read it.
Yeah, I'll read his copies. Yeah, fall of '83 is when I started collecting.
I can remember a friend of mine in high school, he collected comic books, and I don't know why I got into it, but I think it was more of the art form, and that was my hook into it. Then I liked the stories, and so he started helping me find books and
that's a whole
get a couple
issue right now.
Yeah, Robert, he kind of helped me get into it, and I went visited over at his place, and he had a whole bookshelf just full of comic books, and he had the X-Men. He was big into X-Men, so he had the giant size X-Men reboot where they had the Nightcrawler and the Cyclops and all them guys. and then from, was that 96 or 4 or something, 4, that they started with the new X-Men versions and went up through there, because by the time I didn't really get into the X-Men until a little bit later. So
yeah, it's not bad. And then they had some backup stories of various things. They touched on some early days Stormwatch. Yeah, I mean it's an old Western, and I like Westerns, so I mean
Let's see, how many John Wayne movies do you have?
I got like 30 of them.
How many?
About 30 maybe.
Yeah.
I think he's a little bit more Clint Eastwood than anything else.
Yeah.
Eastwood would be a good Jonah Hex if they made a Jonah Hex movie back in the 70s. Now that would rock.
If you like Westerns, I think you'd like this book too, so.
Yeah, most of the art throughout fits the style, I think, of the comic.
Yeah, it
the
does.
character. So I mean, it kind of gives a good gritty, rough feel. You know, Western. So hopefully now they'll actually go out west instead of hanging out in Gotham.
So with that being said, we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Good day.